So I just wanted to take this opportunity to wish all you patriots out there a happy 4th of July. Boy, it seems like just yesterday that I was in the Revolutionary War. Man, I'm getting old. But enough of that. So just real quick, because I know you have things to do. I don't, but I have a dog who... Oh, sorry, Mike, I'm not allowed to mention my dog. You're worse than he is, you know that, don't you? So, I wanted to mention one thing. We're talking about, should we be involved in this Ukraine war with Russia? And I think the answer is yes, but maybe for a different reason than some of you may be thinking. It has to do with China. Right now, China is making a lot of noise. They've been trying to throw their weight around to intimidate a bunch of smaller countries, particularly in the South China Sea area and going all the way down to Australia. And we've been pretty good about getting in there. The Biden administration doesn't get, but should get, a lot of credit for the efforts they're taking in that area to alleviate these countries from any possible economic threat from China. But right now, as it has always been, is this thorn in the side of China about Taiwan. Now, I've been to Taiwan. I've also spent a lot of time in China. And I say that not so I can say, oh, look at me, like some people think, but so that you understand that when I say things, like I'm coming from a background of my background and my experiences. So this whole thing in Taiwan and I also worked for Intel as a senior intellectual property and litigation attorney. So what happened was that there's one company in Taiwan who basically has a monopoly on the world market on chips. And a lot of that is because Intel licensed their patents to this company. And Intel didn't want to make those chips, so they licensed this company and they get royalties. So Intel makes money when these people sell chips. But the chips themselves are very, very inexpensive to make in Taiwan. And they're very good at what they do. So as a result, this company, which is in Taiwan, it has almost a worldwide monopoly on smart chips. And smart chips are in everything. You think we have inflation now. Can you imagine what will happen? First of all, and I applaud Biden for the CHIPS Act of getting these chips back being made in the United States for national security purposes. But for inflationary purposes, those chips, if they're made in the United States versus being made by little guys in Taiwan, when I say little, I don't mean they're small. I mean, a lot of the work that's done, not the clean rooms, of course, but some of the circuitry and circuit boards and things that are made for these things, they're not made in a big factory. They're made out in the countryside and in people's little small homes, or in a garage, or in a back room, or in a converted basement. And I know because I've been there. I've seen these things. I've seen them in operation. I was just, nonplussed, as they say, when I first saw these companies making sophisticated electronic parts, in their basement, all over China. So it's like it's a cottage industry, just like they used to have cottage industries for making blankets and things. Now they make chips. So China would love to get its control over the chip manufacturing that's taking place in Taiwan right now. And it's not in Taipei, it's outside in the north, in Kaohsiung and other places, but not obviously not making chips in expensive homes in Taipei. But they do make them in the countryside. If China were to get a hold of those chips, they would have the rest of the world by the throat when it comes to their economies. And as my dad used to say, all wars are driven by economics, and he was right. So now we have this concern about, would China invade Taipei? Now Taiwan. They've been threatening that since Chiang Kai-shek ran over there and set up his little armed forces over there. Mao kept threatening, and I don't know how many of you remember, but during the first Kennedy-Nixon debate, that the subject of Taiwan came up, and specifically with the two islands, Quemoy and Matsu, which had gun placements that were there put by Chiang Kai-shek's army to protect it against an invasion from mainland China. And that was a big subject of that debate. And now nobody's heard of Kimo Inmetsu. So I just think of that when I think about how sometimes these political dialogues just go off the deep end, and that was one of them. But that was so going, all the way back to before that, during the Eisenhower administration, this has been a big concern about protecting Taiwan. But in those days, there was no particular reason other than sort of ideological. Now we're in a situation where it's a real economic threat if China were to go in there. And if China sees us back off in Ukraine and sees the Russians, whom they're supporting, we're not really sure to what degree, succeed with China's backing, what message do you think that's going to send to China about what they can or cannot do or should or shouldn't do with regard to Taipei? They just throw up a big naval blockade there, which is an act of war, and prevent them from basically sink that economy. It's a small piece of land out there. It's just an island. It used to be Formosa when I was a kid. And they take that piece of land, blockade it off so they can't get anything in or out, starve them, send troops over there to go in there and mop up and take over that entire shipbuilding capacity. And voila, you got China with a stranglehold on every economy in the world. So whatever we do, we cannot let there be a mixed signal to China to think that if they try to do something like that, that they're going to get away with it, that we're going to stand back, that we're going to have division in the country, and Republicans saying we just aren't spending any more of our money this way. We'd rather spend it giving tax breaks to the wealthiest people. If that's the message they take, we could have a nuclear war in our hands. So, hey, happy 4th of July. Just thought I'd throw that out to cheer you, just in case you're already drunk and you're going to go out there and feeling you're in a good mood and you're going to go out there and watch all these fireworks and have a great time. This is to sober you up a little bit. Okay, that's the message. Sober up. I don't mean that literally. Hey, I'm Irish. I tell you, some of the comments I get from you people. And how did you even get in the room? God, Santos, and you're not Irish, so quit saying you are. Yes, I see that you're wearing the American flag, and that's very good. I'm very proud of you. George, would you mind just going to the other room for see that door back there? If you could just go outside, and I'll catch up with you in just a minute. And hey, thanks for coming by.